Before you begin to pray, take a moment to quiet your heart. This is not because God is hard to reach, or because prayer only works when you feel calm, but because your heart tends to follow your attention. When the mind is racing, a prayer can sound like a grocery list shouted over the noise of traffic. Quieting your heart is an act of presence. It helps you show up honestly, listen more deeply, and focus on what you are truly doing. Speaking with God. Start by choosing a small space of stillness. You do not need a cathedral quiet room, but you do need an environment that lets you breathe without being constantly pulled away. If you can, pick a consistent spot, the same corner, the same chair, the same time of day, because the mind learns through patterns. Even a few minutes in the same place each day can help you transition faster from a mode of busyness to a mode of prayer. Turn down the noise, silence your notifications, and give yourself permission to simply be. Next, slow your breathing. This is a simple, physical act, not a mystical one. Your breath signals to your body that it is safe to settle. Try inhaling through your nose for a count of 4, holding for a moment, then exhaling slowly for a count of 6. Repeat this cycle 2 or 3 times. As you breathe out, imagine releasing the tension held in your jaw, your shoulders, and your hands. So many of us carry our worries physically, in clenched muscles, a tight chest, or restless legs. Prayer is not only a mental activity, it is a bodily one. When you calm your body, your mind will often follow. Now consider your posture. There is no single correct way to pray. You do not always have to be sitting, standing, or kneeling with hands folded. The point is not the outward style, but the inner readiness. Choose a posture that helps you stay present. Sitting can be grounding, with your feet on the floor and your spine upright but relaxed. Standing can be a posture of attention and respect. Kneeling can communicate humility. If you tend to get sleepy, standing or sitting forward slightly can help. If you feel overwhelmed, simply holding stillness can be more powerful than trying to force a feeling of religious emotion. Then, clear the mental clutter. Before you speak, take 30 seconds to simply notice what is running through your mind. Is it a conversation you are replaying? A bill you are worried about? A temptation you are wrestling with? Instead of fighting these thoughts, name them gently in your own head. I am thinking about work. I am worried about my health. I feel frustrated with someone. Naming a thought does not make it disappear, but it stops the thought from pretending it is invisible. After you notice them, you can intentionally set them aside for this moment, trusting that they can be addressed in God's timing. A helpful practice is to begin not with words, but with silence. Real silence. At first, it may feel awkward, but think of it as knocking before entering a room. You are giving your heart a chance to settle and your mind a chance to stop sprinting. Even 20 to 60 seconds of quiet can transform your prayer from a reaction into a conversation. And as you settle into this quiet space, you may find that what surfaces is pain. This is where true healing begins, not by ignoring the ache, but by giving it a name with compassion and clarity. To name pain is to put accurate, specific language to what is happening inside you. It is saying, "This is what I am feeling," rather than "something is wrong." It is describing the experience without judgment. "No, I am pathetic." "No, this is crazy." Compassionate naming keeps the focus on the human experience. The hurt, the fear, the loneliness, the grief, the anger, the exhaustion, whatever is truly present. Clarity matters because when pain remains vague, the mind struggles to process it. Vague language can fuel confusion and a sense of threat. "I don't know what's wrong" often leads to more stress and a feeling of being out of control. But when you use clear, specific words, you reduce the uncertainty. This does not fix everything instantly, but it helps your body's inner alarm to settle, allowing you to make sense of what you are facing. So what does this sound like? Compassionate language acknowledges that the pain is real and gently implies that it makes sense. You might say to yourself or to another, "That sounds truly painful." Of course, that would feel overwhelming. Given what has happened, it makes sense you would feel on edge. You are not doing anything wrong by having this reaction. Clarity, then, adds precision. Instead of a general word like stressed, you might try, "I feel a tightness in my chest, and my thoughts are racing." Instead of "I'm upset," you could say, "I feel hurt and disappointed." Instead of "this is bad," you might name the deeper fear. "I'm scared this will never get better." A helpful way to find this clarity is to break the pain into three parts: the emotion, the body, and the meaning. First, what is the emotion? Is it anger, fear, sadness, or shame? Second, where do you feel it in your body? A tight throat, a heavy stomach, a restless energy? And third, what is the meaning or the story underneath? Is it a need for safety, a fear of being abandoned, a feeling of not being enough? Imagine someone says, "I can't handle this anymore." A compassionate and clear response might be, "I hear you. It sounds like you are completely overwhelmed, like it's all piling up and you have no room to breathe. Is that feeling more like exhaustion, or is it more of a fear of what happens next?" Notice how this doesn't debate the feeling. It translates the experience into something understandable and then gently invites more specificity, without interrogation. Once we have named the pain, we can bring it into the light of prayer. This is the moment we ask for healing of the body, putting our request into words, bringing our physical needs to God with honesty, practicality, and hope. First, it helps to understand that healing can take many forms. Sometimes it is dramatic and immediate, an illness resolving quickly, a pain vanishing within days. Other times, healing is gradual, strength returning slowly, inflammation going down over weeks, mobility coming back bit by bit. And there is also a kind of healing that may look different than we expect. It may be the gift of comfort, relief from fear, or a deep steadiness during treatment. Healing includes both the physical restoration and the spiritual support that helps a person endure. When you ask for healing, begin with clarity. Do not just say, "Heal me." Be specific. For example, "I have pain in my lower back that is making it hard to work," or "I am dealing with migraines that interrupt my sleep," or "I am recovering from surgery and I ask for steady improvement." Specificity does not show a lack of faith. It focuses your prayer and helps you notice the small, real changes along the way. It is also vital to bring your whole truth to prayer. If you are scared, say you are scared. If you are frustrated, say you are frustrated. If you are tired of waiting, say that too. Honesty in prayer is a strength, not a weakness. Asking for healing is already an admission that you cannot control everything, so there is no need to pretend. You can approach God with real words, real symptoms, and real questions. A helpful model is to acknowledge the situation, ask for healing, and then ask for what you need to respond. For example, "God, my body is hurting. I ask for healing, for relief from this pain, and for strength to move normally again. And while I wait, please give me wisdom for my next steps, patience in my recovery, and a peace that does not depend on how I feel today. This approach matters because it keeps prayer from becoming passive. Prayer and practical care can work together. You can see a doctor, follow a treatment plan, attend physical therapy, and take medication as prescribed. Prayer becomes part of your response, not a substitute for medical guidance. The Bible itself offers a precedent for seeking support from others, such as in the book of James, which speaks of calling on the community to pray for the one who is sick. This reminds us that we are not meant to face our struggles alone. In this active partnership of prayer and care, we often find our greatest struggle is not in the body, but in the mind. The mind can fill every empty space with worry, replaying the past and forecasting the future. Now, we shift our focus to surrendering the mind to peace and restoration. This is not about forcing positive thoughts or pretending problems are not real. It is about returning your attention to something steadier, something that allows your body to come down from high alert. The mind does not calm down because you argue with it. If you have ever told yourself to stop thinking that, you know the thought often grows louder. Surrendering the mind means changing your relationship with your thoughts. Instead of treating every mental event like an emergency, you begin to recognize thoughts as just that, passing experiences that you do not have to obey. When stress is high, the brain defaults to vigilance. This is a survival feature. It scans for danger and searches for answers to protect you. So when your mind feels restless, it is not failing. It is trying to keep you safe. The goal is not to shut it down, but to help it feel safe enough to stop working overtime. A practical technique is to allow without engaging. You might notice a thought like, "What if this goes wrong?" Instead of analyzing it, you can pause and say internally, "There is that thought again." Then, you gently return your focus to a physical anchor, your breath, the sensation of your feet on the floor, the feeling of your hands at rest. This is the core of surrender. The mind can speak, but you do not have to follow where it leads. Peace grows when your attention rests on something the mind cannot spiral around. Try this now. Take one slow breath in, and as you breathe out, imagine you are setting a worried thought down on a table instead of carrying it. Notice how your body responds. Perhaps your shoulders drop slightly, or your jaw unclenches. These are small, physical signs of restoration. When your body receives cues of safety, the stress response can ease, leading to a calmer heart rate and clearer thinking. This surrender is not a one-time event. It is a posture we learn to hold. And it is held by two pillars: faith and patience. When life feels uncertain, it is normal to wonder, how do I keep going? In the Christian story, strength often arrives through these two virtues, not because circumstances suddenly change, but because your inner life is being formed while you wait. Faith gives you a direction to lean toward. Patience gives you the endurance to keep walking, even when you cannot see the destination. Faith is more than believing God exists. It is trusting God's character and promises enough to act as though they are real. You may not have all the details, but faith says, I can take the next right step. Think of someone facing a difficult season at work. Fear might say, panic, quit, make a rash decision. But faith says, pray, seek wisdom, continue to do what is right, look for what you can control. Faith does not guarantee a quick timeline, but it protects you from being shaped by panic. And that, in itself, is a form of strength. Faith and patience are closely connected. Biblical patience is not passive waiting. It is steady perseverance. It is choosing to remain faithful to God's process while you wait for His timing. The Bible presents patience as a force that produces maturity. In this view, waiting is not wasted time. It is a training ground where resilience is forged. Imagine building muscle. You do not become strong by staring at a weight. You grow stronger through repeated effort, sometimes uncomfortable, often slow, always requiring consistency. The same principle applies spiritually. When you keep showing up, praying, making wise choices, forgiving what needs to be forgiven, and staying grounded in truth, you are building endurance. Over time, you look back and realize you have not just survived the season, you have grown through it. This is how we receive strength. In Scripture, strength is not only physical energy, it is mental steadiness, emotional resilience, and a hope that does not collapse when delays happen. Many people try to generate strength by forcing outcomes, but faith and patience help you hold steady without needing immediate results. Faith says, God may be working, even if I cannot see it. And patience says, I will keep trusting, even while I wait. As our time of reflection draws to a close, we do not simply walk away. We gather the peace we have found and prepare to carry it with us. This closing moment is what holds everything together, so that what you have experienced can stay with you. Begin with a simple closing blessing. You might place a hand over your heart or on your hands. Then, silently or aloud, offer a simple wish. May I be safe. May I be well. May I move through my day with steadiness and kindness. Now make that blessing specific to what you need. If you have been feeling stressed, you could add, may my body release what it no longer needs to carry. If you have been feeling stuck, you might say, may I find one small step that feels possible. If you have been feeling emotionally raw, you can offer, may I meet myself with patience. This simple act helps shift your mind from feeling like something is happening to you toward knowing you are taking part in your own care. Next comes gratitude. Gratitude is an attention practice, training your mind to recognize what is working. Consider 3 things. First, gratitude for your body. It carried you through this practice. It allowed you to breathe. Honor it for showing up. Second, gratitude for your mind. It noticed your thoughts. That awareness is a skill. You can say, thank you for noticing. Thank you for learning. Third, gratitude for your effort. You made time for this. You chose to try. That consistency is progress. Finally, close the loop with a single intention. An intention is not pressure to be perfect. It is a quality you want to carry with you. It might be gentleness, or courage, or simply presence. Choose one word that resonates with you today. Hold it in your mind for a moment. Let it be a quiet promise to yourself, a guiding light for the hours ahead. And with that, carry this peace forward into your day.